Hey everybody, this is Keith with Money Clips, and it's another fine day. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the recession that we're in. It's pretty much been universally confirmed from many sources that we are officially not only in a bear market, but in a general recession. And right now, there's just several things you want to think about with regard to those, that fact that we're going to be seeing a lot of things over the next 12 to 18 months. Typically, recessions or bear markets typically last about 12 upwards of 18 months. I've seen other content providers on YouTube mentioning don't buy anything for 18 months. Well, good luck with that. Unless you've stocked up for the last year, you're going to have to go and buy gas for the car. You're going to have to go buy food. You're going to have to go buy the normal things that we always buy. But they're talking about discretionary spending. You want to avoid that just so that you're not getting the worst hit in your pocketbook. Once things stabilize, then your dollar is going to be worth a little bit more. Prices are going to stabilize. Right now, we still are dealing with backlogs in transportation and a great number of other things that are just driving the value and the cost of everything up through the roof. So don't panic. Don't go off and spend money you don't have. Don't go into debt right now. It's just not the most economically efficient thing to do. You're really cutting your own foot. Now, what are we worried about? First off, the fact that there are companies, many larger companies, are already noting that there are going to be layoffs. They're concerned about the recession. They've acknowledged it. And one of the first things that companies do in anticipation of that is actually cut jobs. I was looking at something October 10th from Bank of America, where they were saying they were looking at, on average, at the United States actually cutting well over 100,000 jobs per month going forward. Now, that hasn't quite materialized yet, but we're actually going to be seeing reduction. Why? Reduction in workforces because of what? Recession and concern for the bottom line. Now, having said that, one of the biggest things that you need to worry about are declining stock values in your existing portfolio. But what do? Do you sell everything at a loss? No. Do you sell everything now? I don't necessarily recommend it. I recommend, and I think that it's a great buying opportunity, that you keep dollar cost averaging in, you stay in for the long term if you're well invested, and then gradually buy in as it's cheaper during this correction. And then you get to ride it on the way up after we get past this 12 to 18 month downturn, and also just the volatility that's going to be coming along with that. It's going to be up, it's going to be down, it's going to be down, 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 up, up, down, down, down. You're going to see a lot of that. So don't panic just because values are declining. However, it's a good time to analyze your portfolio and perhaps cut some losses now that we're in December 2022 right now as I'm recording this. Usually people are using, trying to cut some losses to offset gains in other areas for long and short-term investments. So there is that. Another thing would be lower earnings going forward for businesses. So you might see reductions in dividends. You might see a whole lot of things that are going on that are going to be concerning in the near term. But again, you have to allow for things to correct. Next, you're going to be looking again, unemployment. I just hit on that, but let me drive it home for you, that unemployment is going to be one of the big bugaboos of this entire, next few months as companies are concerned, as they're cutting back. So one of the biggest things you can do right now, there's actually several, cutting expenses in your household, holding onto your cash reserves where you can, protecting your job, for Pete's sakes, just keeping that regular flow of money, and maybe even improving your situation. That is, learning more skills that are related to what you're doing, and actually investing your time more in what you're already doing so that you're less likely to get cut. It doesn't mean it won't happen. You can also look at ways to get promoted even during this time. Somebody goes, well, maybe that's an opportunity. Maybe they cut a little too deep. and it's an opportunity for you. So learn everything you can about your job. Even if you've been there for a while and there are things you don't particularly want to know about, it is a way to enhance your survivability, just like planting a garden in reality. Thinking about investing in what you have, thinking long term. That is, just because things are going down, don't panic. That's when everybody loses. So just don't cut your losses right away unless you really do have something that is really bad. Like a really poor investment, something speculative. That's not what I'm talking. You probably want to get rid of those, or maybe just pare it down to where it's a very small portion of your portfolio, and look at companies that are more stable, or index funds. Like I said, S&P, great. VU over, which is the index fund that follows the S&P. S&P, in good times and bad, on average, even the years that it's lost, it still is averaging over 11% per year in a return. Now, if that's in a tax-protected retirement account, great. If it's just in your brokerage account, that's okay too. You just have to worry about the taxes. So something to think about. Also, rebalancing your portfolio based on your age, could be based on what your goals are. Reassessing your goals is also very important. So in essence, what I'm trying to get across is don't panic, but also invest more in yourself and what's making you money now. If you can get that new job that's paying more, might be a good time, but then again, you're the low person on the totem pole too. And those tend to go first in some instances. However, something to think about. What's my advice for, depending on where you're at? If you're in your 20s, 30s, you have time to recover. If you're 55 plus, you're sweating it a little bit more. And I have to acknowledge that right now, especially if you're, say, 63, 65, and you're writing this down, it's scary. So what are you thinking about doing? Perhaps waiting another year or two to retire. And again, everything else I talked about. But are you in a position to wait? Well, one thing you're not in a position to is sell, just panic and pull everything out and then experience all those losses. If you've been around a while like I have, you've seen the market crash, you've seen it correct, you've seen recessions, and the people that get burnt are the people that sell on the way down. They instead of buying, because invariably the market returns. As a matter of fact, on average, after a recession, the market tends to return after that cycle, after that 12 to 18 month cycle, well over 30% the following year. And then by the second year, it's generally up over 50 from where it started. So as far as from the low. So you have a lot of opportunity right now, as long as you're taking it easy and you're focused on long-term rather than short-term. Now, can I account for every little thing that comes in life? You have an emergency. Hopefully you've got an emergency fund. So don't short on that. Definitely protect it. Don't use it for things that aren't emergencies, like a down payment on a car or something of that nature. If the car breaks down, that's one thing. You pull a little cash, you get the car rolling again so you can go out there and make some more money. But to enter into a new payment is not always wise. Some people are doing well despite the recession. As a matter of fact, I think of my work as a self-employed accountant, and I have a very broad background from a lot of different things. I've been in human resources, and I started doing taxes for people back when I was a teenager. And I just kept doing it. And that was on the side for a long time while I chased other things, IT, HR, and a couple of other things. But I finally realized that, markets go up, markets go down. But as an accountant, when times are good, they need you, your clients need you. And when times are bad, they need you even more because they're scared. So have a good accountant in your corner. Someone you can trust, especially if you're self-employed. Get somebody to check out your books once in a while. I'm not selling my service. I'm just trying to say, if you've got somebody in your area, please go reach out to them or have a deeper discussion with your accountant that you already have a relationship with and talk to them. If you don't have a financial advisor, get some referrals and reach out to a financial advisor who's qualified. There are many of them. I could recommend many that are more than qualified. Sometimes it just comes down to personality or approach. So talk to a few different people. Bring your investment information so they can see where you're at and what their take on it is, but also be conscious of people who are trying to sell you something. So it's not bad, but then again, you have to know up front if they've got a dog in the race, if they're trying to work on getting you to convert to something that you don't really need to convert to if you're doing things right. So again, that's the benefit of getting, say, 3 different opinions. Anyway, that's enough for today. So from Money Clips, this is Keith signing off, and feel free to like and subscribe if you got any value out of this. Take care.